21st century, it is becoming more and more common for both parents to have to work due to financial issues, leaving children to come home to empty houses.
My 4-year-old is at preschool, so she comes home at 12. And this is the child who looked at me and said, "I don't like you, you mean nothing to me." But now in the afternoons, she'll be just kind of hanging out on the couch chilling, and she'll look at me and she goes, "Can you come snuggle with me on the couch?" And I just kind of melt into a puddle and we snuggle.
Here in Atlanta, it is currently 43 degrees in October. For some, this is merely an inconvenience, but for others, it is an unavoidable part of their everyday reality.
It's really bad, it's really bad. And it's not really so much homeless, it's a lot of mentally ill people. That's what I think. They really need help. It's out of control.
Stuck in a park with thousands of homeless people who are fighting or going through this, or somebody's arguing about this and weapons are being pulled out. And all I see is people being locked up for drugs, or people being locked up for cigarettes and this, but I don't see people coming out trying to make it better who are working for the system, who they call themselves corrections, but what are you actually correcting by locking a person up, giving them a felony, and by the time they get out, jobs won't take them because they're considered a felon, and what do they have left to do but, sell drugs, which they sell to the people who are stuck out here in bad situations.
And all these things, and what they do is they use alcohol and drugs to cover up the pain. But now everything they ever begged for or worked for, they spent it on these drugs or alcohol to cover up the pain. I smoked crack for 8 years. God delivered me from crack cocaine 7 years ago.
You are doing something amazing in him, Lord God. He's curious to know about you, Lord God.
For some people, such as Edward Capozzi, religion was the answer that helped him overcome his addiction. This is not a one-size-fits-all answer. We need to continue to strive and work for projects that will continue to bring these people off the streets and out of their addictions.
Childhood grief is a topic that often goes unspoken. Kate's Club is an organization that allows children an outlet to meet others much like themselves and discuss their grief in an open environment.
Kate's Club got started back in 2003. It was founded by a woman named Kate Atwood, and Kate started Kate's Club because when she was 12 or 13 years old, Kate's mom died from breast cancer. And she looked around and thought about who she knew who had also lost a mom, and the people she thought of were Cinderella, Snow White, all these fairy tale characters, but no one in her neighborhood, no one in her school who really knew what she was going through. Kate was in college. She volunteered at a bereavement camp and realized how impactful it was for her to share her story, but then also for other people to hear that story and think to themselves, oh, there's someone like me. And so from that, the seed of Kate's Club was really born.
I will not fear.
It started with 5, 6 kids going bowling together, and then over the years has grown to be this more intentional programming, and not just what kids want, but also what they need. So our primary program is something called a Clubhouse Day, and what that is, it's a full day, 6 hours of programs that are therapeutic while also being social and recreational. We have a young lady who's currently involved in our programs, and she experienced the death of both parents to a murder-suicide when she was very young. And she has spent much of her life feeling like there was no one like her and that no one else really understood what she was going through. And she participated in a support group that we offered specifically for our members who have lost a loved one to homicide, suicide, or overdose, and met another teenager, a boy, who also experienced the death of both parents to murder-suicide. And she walked away, and her aunt asked her how her first session with the group was, and she was so excited, her eyes lit up, and she just turned to her and said, I met someone like me. And to me, that is what we're doing here. It's not, it's partially about the activities and partially about the conversation, but at its core, it's about having kids in a room with other kids who have some of these shared experiences and who can, help each other feel a little bit less alone.